What's going on YouTube, and welcome to another video. If you're new to the channel, I welcome you. Be sure to hit that subscribe button followed by the bell notification so you never miss an upload. And if you're watching this video, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot, lets me know that you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. So I wanted to discuss a potential rumor or spoiler that is going around that I've seen several people cover, as well as supposed insiders that have seen the film early have said happens. And that's pertaining to Dewey's death, or either in the beginning of the film or somewhere early on. And I did several videos myself, kind of theorizing and discussing the idea of the OG3 dying, Gail, Sidney, Dewey. And I did individual videos, as well as a video on Judy Hicks being a killer. And the theory or spoiler that is going around right now is that Dewey will be lured to his death by Hicks. Hicks will kill Dewey and supposedly somebody else. I saw rumors that it'd be Selena Gomez's character, that it'd be another character. But essentially, Judy Hicks will kill Dewey, and it'll be the first time that a killer was revealed early on in a Scream film. And people have all this evidence backing it up that, Wes Hicks is Judy Hicks's kid, and that he maybe is Billy or Stu's child, and maybe he's in on it. And they sort of painted this picture in Scream 4 that Judy is not all the way there, that Hicks could be a killer, and if she gets rid of Dewey, well, now she can be sheriff, and she can kind of move and manipulate behind the scenes, which is essentially the videos that I made early on, that I made long before these supposed spoilers came out. And this video isn't to say like, oh, look, I got it. It was just, I wanted to have this discussion because it's something that is believable. And that was the whole point of the videos I made, a month or so ago now, maybe two, is it is a believable scenario. And it did in a lot of ways seem to paint the picture in Scream 4 that Hicks will be a killer. And now I also did a video on the influence that the previous Scream films will have, because Scream 1 through 3 was a trilogy. And then you had Scream 4 that was sort of a standalone thing, kind of its own thing, didn't really tie into anything really. So, it'll be interesting to see how much Scream 4's influence will have on this Scream 5 film. But I do think, and I've said this in I don't even know how many videos now, that the OG3 will slowly be killed off. And I think Dewey is the most likely person to kill off in the Scream franchise. Mainly his job, being a sheriff, it's his job to sort of go into this danger and fight the good fight. He is, yes, a beloved character, but he is somebody that I think fans would be able to swallow. Yes, they'd be upset about it, but I feel like Gail, and especially Sidney, you can't really kill off right away. The whole idea is that they're supposed to start a new trilogy, and I think that will sort of be the thing. I think, Dewey will probably die in this film. Gail will either die towards the end or in the next film. And then Sidney ultimately will meet her demise in probably the third and final installment, unless they do more. And that's what I think is sort of the trend. And more people that have seen this film, which we know 25 people have seen a screening of the rough cut of the film. There was a whole thing, a whole Twitter post or Instagram post that somebody posted that several people even covered on their YouTube channels that I saw. But basically this insider said that he saw the raw cut and that, the movie was 2.5 hours, which now a lot of people were saying that seems like too long of a film. But in reality, every Scream film was anywhere from an hour and 45 minutes to Scream 2 being roughly 2 hours. So the film being 2.5 hours, it is very possible, but realistically, we're going to get a shorter version. Again, this was a raw version of the film, which supposedly 25 other people had seen besides that supposed insider. And now the insider even said, again, whether you believe him or not, he did say that 95% of these rumors are false, and, people are just, throwing smoke where there isn't anything, and that the OGs did have roles, but they weren't significant. So, again, they weren't, you could argue they weren't very significant in Scream 4 either, but I really think one way or another they're going to slowly start moving off of these characters. So I think Dewey, let's say it is a longer film, let's say it is closer to 2 hours, I could see Dewey dying in the first 30 to 45 minutes. I think that's realistic. And then that sort of lights a fire under Sidney and Gail. And I even said in a video that something has to draw Sidney out, because I think realistically Sidney's going to go back into hiding like she was in Scream 3, and Dewey's death would be big enough to draw her out. Again, this is just my theory, my idea. This isn't like a spoiler, but this insider said that it had strong characters and really good chase sequences. So we know that there's going to be action, that the killer's going to be, very innovative. They said that, he's going to have a lot of nice kills, and that there's some really big stuff that happens. And so what could be so big that an insider would feel the need to suggest? Yes, of course, it's a Scream film, so, you got the whodunits, you got, the behind the scenes stuff with the characters and all that, but it makes a lot of sense that one of the OG3 would meet their end, specifically Dewey, and that would be pretty big. Again, according to this insider, there's some big stuff, some real changes to the Scream franchise, and he even talks about a bait and switch that made people gasp, that made people freak out. So this is another sort of example of that maybe Dewey did die. Maybe that bait and switch is Dewey. You think some person's going to die, maybe Hicks is supposed to be the victim. They paint it like she is the one that's going to be killed. So you're sitting there watching it, you're sitting there looking at it, and then bam, it turns out she flips the script and Dewey dies. That would be a pretty big deal, and it'd be a pretty big bait and switch. I can't be alone in that. But, and then there's the big line, when will you guys learn? I make the rules. And everybody now is speculating, like, was it a killer? Was it Sidney? That sounds more like something Sidney would say. So that tells me if that is something Sidney would say, that would be something at the end of the film. So that would tell me that Sidney is going to last till the end of the film. But all in all, I think based on the information that the supposed insider that everyone's covering has said, as well as all the spoilers and, people that have said it, yes, it could all just be nonsense and just BS. But people have seen the rough cut. We know that the film is finished and that, they're just doing the final edits and post-production and stuff. So I think it is a possibility that some stuff could have gotten leaked. Some stuff could be told about. The thing that kind of makes the insider believable is that he doesn't really say or give away too much. He just kind of says the film is, your classic Scream film. When you really break down what he says, that it's essentially just what we see in every Scream. So there wasn't anything he said that made me go, like, this sounds like, BS. So if he is telling the truth, and he is somebody that did see the film, well then, it is very likely that Dewey is going to meet his death. And again, it's just a theory, it's just a rumor, it's just an idea. I've said it from pretty much day one since I started these Scream, discussions, because I think it's a realistic idea. I think it's something that's believable. I think it's a character that if he met his demise, nobody would really second guess. I mean, think of how many times the guy has essentially died. He was supposed to die in what, Scream 1? And then they added him, coming out at the end because audiences loved him so much when they were doing test screenings and stuff. So it's not unrealistic for Dewey to meet his end. I don't even think it's unrealistic for Gail to meet her end, because Courtney had all those rumors and she supposedly said that she wanted to die in Scream 4 and that she didn't want to continue these films. Sydney's character, Nev's character, Sydney. Nev didn't want to return to this film, but she, once she got a letter from the producers and the directors, all of a sudden she changed her tune. So maybe they even said, yeah, we're gonna do everything right, we're gonna do justice, but we're gonna slowly start killing you off. I don't think that would necessarily be a bad thing. I think people don't like the idea because of nostalgia. They've grown to love these characters, which I have too. I mean, I grew up with Scream. I mean, I've watched Scream since I was little. I'm 30 now. So I've watched it. I've grown up with Scream, essentially. So, I would hate to see them go, but I think eventually it's inevitable. And I've said that time and time again, and I'm sticking to it. But as always, this is a discussion, so join it down in the comments and let me know what you think. If you think this is all smoke and mirrors, if you think this could potentially be a real thing, I'd love to hear from you. If you're not already, subscribe to the channel. It helps me out a lot. And if you're not, like the video. I really appreciate it. And I thank you, and we'll see you in the next one.